I shall represent. Yo.
I was gonna write you an email, but I'm a little drunk and spelling is a sober person's game. So I feel I owe you an explanation. I'm sorry. Explanation.
Whoopah! Well, good evening, fellow agents. This is Agent X7 here. My lovely host, co-host, Philip Draco. We're coming to you, well, one of us is coming to you live from Fossil Bed, Colorado. The other one is from the 7th layer of Niflheim. How are you doing tonight, Lilith?
Great. How are you tonight?
I'm feeling no pain.
It's great. What are you drinking tonight?
Tonight, I have a beer I've never tried before. It's a collaboration between Evil Twin Brewing and Short Throw Brewing. It's called Even More Nobility. It's a stout. It's an imperial stout. I don't know how much more noble you can get to be if you're imperial. It's 15%. It's got flavors of coconut, a little maple, I believe. To be honest, it's really not my favorite. Flavored stouts are hit and miss with me. When I was early on learning how to drink them, I would try many and thought I liked them, but nowadays they're just not what they used to be. This one's not bad.
It'll do the job.
It'll do the job. It'll do, donkey. What are you drinking tonight, Lila?
I am drinking a Stone Delicious IPA. 7.7%. Oh, it's gluten reduced. Didn't see that when I bought it.
Jeez.
It's citrusy lemon drop hops and tropical Eldorado hops. It's pretty good. I like Stone. As you know, Stone is from San Diego, California.
I've heard of that place.
I went there a few times to the actual brewery when I lived there in a past life. It had good food. It was expensive, but it was really good food.
Aren't they always?
Yes.
The food,
Yes.
that is. I went to an after party at a brewery, I think. That was a long time ago when I had just started imbibing my career, and I don't remember what I had, except for a shot that was called a chocolate cake and tasted like chocolate cake.
Yum.
It was on my birthday, right after I started my career as a rule enforcer, if you will.
Okay, sure.
It was the only time anyone listened to me is when I blew a whistle at them. They had to respect my authority.
So I still question what you're a special agent of.
Well, Lilith, you know if I tell you, I'd have to kill you. And we know that's just not a possibility.
No.
You don't kill the eternal. You can't kill the eternal, immortal Lilith Draco.
Nope.
Stanley. Learned all my alliteration from Stanley.
That's awesome. You're a nerd.
What's in the background you have there?
My cool skull.
That is true. You do have a cool skull in the background. Anything else?
And my awesome mannequin with the horns.
Right above your head. Something green-ish, kind of a mint color.
Little Grogu.
And what's that right over next to him?
This awesome thing. Huh?
I think we've discussed him before on the show.
That's my wonderful Gambit.
Well, I think the Funko Pop is cooler, though. So Lilith, what are we talking about tonight?
We are going to review
Come on, short round. Yeah.
Dr. Jones.
Dr. Jones.
Oh, Dr. Jones.
Dr. Jones!
Junior! Junior? Junior! Junior, I told you! Don't call me Junior.
Indiana.
Indiana?
Indy, please. Indy! Indy. Oh, Indy. Indy! Indy, no!
I didn't.
Indiana Jones!
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones?
Indiana Jones.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. The first and best of the trilogy, because I still don't count the last one.
I don't know, in my opinion, if it's the best of all the Indiana Jones, but it is a good one. I don't count number 4 either, but we'll get to it and review it. So,
Why do you hate me, Lilith? I bring you craft beer when you're here. I'm nice to
true.
you.
I don't know why.
Whoopah!
I mean, I know why, but I don't know why.
So, where should we start?
Well, first of all, if I become an archaeologist, I want adventures like this. I mean, I know it's not real archaeology,
You call this archaeology?
but I mean, come on.
When I was when I was in first grade, a gazillion years ago, the teacher, I did not know the difference. I don't even know where I heard the term archaeologist. I got it confused with paleontologist.
Right?
I'm gonna regret this. Damn
Oh.
beers. Maybe I should stop talking now and talk about the
keep
movie.
going. Keep going. We like this story so far.
Well, in first grade, I told when the teacher, Miss Worthington was her name, wanted to know what everyone wanted to be, and somebody who will remain nameless said he wanted to be an archaeologist. He really meant paleontologist, but
Great.
I stumped the teacher. She didn't know how to spell it. We had to go over to the library. We were in temporary buildings at that point in time, and we walked over there, and I remember it being kind of coolish, like maybe either late winter or early spring. We had to look up the word archaeologist. Then she put it on the spelling test.
Mm.
And
You
fortunately,
can spell it.
I can still spell it.
Well, I know you can spell it now, but could you back then?
It was a challenge. Every kid in that class, every kid could spell archaeologist. They didn't even hate me for it.
Nice.
So,
Could you have spelled paleontology?
well, that's actually easier than archaeology because archaeology has a CHEO. Paleontology just spells exactly the way it sounds. Exactly. So I've been around paleontology and archaeology my whole life, since before the eternal, immortal Lilith Draco was born.
Been around it my entire life. When I was in elementary, we took a trip out to a certain area of the state to learn about dinosaur fossils and to do a little dig. And so I've been around it my whole life too.
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
So in the movie, the year is 1936,
Right.
which was it was almost 100 years ago now.
Almost.
The
Goodness.
movie was made in 1981, so obviously it was in production for probably 1980, maybe even late 79. Don't remember. little production note. Um,
Not a lot of CGI.
None, zero, zip, zilch. Lovely to see miniatures, glass paintings, and mats, and stop motion. There's even stop motion. Can you know who told me that?
Sweet summer child.
I call him Agent B, but he's been demoted. Recruit.
Right. Yeah. It'll take a lot for him to get promoted again. He's something special. Really is something special. I mean,
Super duper special. And not like, well, yeah.
people will learn. The people will.
Oh,
They'll
yeah.
get to know him very well.
So we start the movie in South America, some
Yes.
unnamed country then, and
Which I have to say, who's gonna scream like that at a stone totem in the middle of? It's not scary.
well, as someone who saw the movie in the theater when it was released, everyone in the audience when it popped out, yes,
Really.
it happened. Well,
It's
wait,
not
which
scary.
which
It's just
totem?
at the very beginning, and then the bats come flying out of the mouth. But he screamed before the bats came flying out.
And you know who the actor was there? That was Dr. Octopus. Alfred Molina. Very young, and of course, they're all very young in 1981. We were so
Few
young.
in there that I recognized that I couldn't name them, but I recognize them as their younger selves.
Yeah, I keep forgetting every time I watch it that Dr. Octopus is there. Oh, that was such a good movie. Oh, no superheroes. Sorry.
To the movie.
Yes, the whole thing there. I mean, I'm relatively sure that's a set for the most part because it's so lush, so green, and so not full of bugs until the tarantulas, which wouldn't hurt anybody. I mean, come on.
Oh, they're not going to, but still, oh, them crawling all over. And why did Indiana Jones only have 2 on him, but the other guy was covered? Why?
So funny. Oh. When we get to the next movie and talk about that bug scene, that's a little different. But,
Oh, that's terrible. That's a bad bug scene. But we'll get there.
and you
Let's
know what?
focus on this one.
Tarantulas don't even spin silk. So why was all that silk there?
I don't know. That's another thing that I noticed is those were some freaking huge webs. Like,
Well,
you almost expect like a giant spider doing that.
that would have been super cool.
It would
Because
have been better than the.
giant monsters always add to everything. It's kind of sad Indiana Jones never run into a dinosaur. Teamed up with Doc Savage. Be that as it may. Yeah, so why are they worried about tarantulas? They're just going to crawl on you.
I know, but still, it would gross me out. I don't
Well,
want to even just a tarantula crawling on me. Ooh.
Or forever be the sidekick. Yeah, I don't know that I could do it. And I had a friend. Well, anyway, I will digress. So we get through the
But
bugs.
there's another part of that opening scene that kind of I thought was, how did he know the sun shining into the cave? And how would that trigger the arrows coming out to stab you in the cave as they were going in? Avoid the light. He said, avoid the light. How did he know? And how is stepping into the light going to trigger something like that?
That's a great question. I believe he obviously had done this sort of thing before. And he's an archaeologist, so he had studied the Mojivos, that particular tribe. He had to know who they were, and because he knew about the poison, that it was poison. So I would think that he had some sort of background because he would have studied that. I mean, yeah, that's all I can come up with. Because unless he'd had to have done it before. It's experience.
Right, But the second part of that question is how was stepping into the light going to trigger something? I understand stepping on something or catching your foot on something, but light shining in, what is going to be the actual trigger?
That is good too. I believe that it is the lack of light that sets the motion, that sets that triggers it. Somehow it's a temperature thing. Or a wizard did it. That's all I got.
I'm supposed to
Wizards-
think about that. You're just supposed to see awesome action. And he's how smart he is.
Well, again, 40 years of the movie. When you first see it,
doesn't it?
that first scene, the whole first scene, barrel, you're just going nonstop because it's one thing after another. You don't think about, you don't like.
Well, I know.
How'd they get that rock up there? I mean,
Right?
what the heck? 6 tons of granite and a micaceous schist.
Right.
That's a real thing too. I looked it up. Thank you, Bert.
Nice.
As you know what geology does.
Geology rocks.
Okay, there we go. That I didn't say that.
I say it all the time.
You too. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. You're the only one that does, so take that for what it is.
I know.
I
I'm not sure how I should feel about that.
was waiting for that. I'm sure it's my fault. Oh, so he gets the idol.
Right.
Really,
His little trickery.
my gosh, that scene, the whole thing. This is such a well shot movie. Spielberg was at the top of his game.
Yes.
Lucas just used it, couldn't ruin it. Thank God.
Right.
So it just makes you realize, I mean, we're so used to Spielberg being the director he is that you forget sometimes how good a director he is. But that it's well edited, and it's well edited. So well edited because it's just, the timing is perfect. This movie is the perfect length. It's almost 2 hours, but it does
Right.
not. Unlike the Eternals, which went on forever. Sorry, superhero reference. Okay, so get him out there. You got anything about that?
So, as he's running out and the big boulder comes rolling down, if he just squatted, it would roll right over him, but it would have blocked the entrance or the exit. So
It's true.
if you don't know that, you can see the track that it's rolling down on, and he could have just kind of squatted down and.
They've kind of removed some of that with CGI these days, but yes, you can kind of see the tracks if you look for them. That's not something when you're 16 years old and watching this thing come down. You don't even, I knew enough about special effects by then to know, okay, it's just so, you're thinking, Indy, get out of the way, run.
And if it was made today, they would have used CGI. It wouldn't have been.
And it would have rolled it would have been like a 30-minute sequence that he was getting away from the stupid boulder.
Right.
That's 6 tons of granite.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, that's a great opening scene.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Yeah. So he gets out there, he's got the idol, everyone else is dead that he brought with him. And then who do we run into? Balok. He has 18 different names. That first line, he is dubbed. They did some ADR, but you can tell that they had to do it over. Probably, the line just didn't come through properly, but someone who who studied dubbing, and that most people wouldn't notice that. This is the first time I did.
Yeah, I didn't notice it.
Jerk. He's a charming jerk, but he's a jerk.
Right. Renee Bullock.
Renee.
All right, so X7, now that we're done with the first scene of Indiana Jones, I decided to approach this movie with an idea in mind. And I got this idea from The Big Bang Theory. Here's a clip of where I got it.
So what'd you think?
It was good.
That's it? Good?
It was very entertaining, despite the glaring story problem.
Story problem? I defy you to find a story problem. Here's my jaw. Drop it.
All right. Indiana Jones plays no role in the outcome of the story. If he weren't in the film, it would turn out exactly the same. The Nazis would have still found the Ark, taken it to the island, opened it up, and all died. Just like they did. Let me close that for you.
Damn that Amy Farrah Fowler.
So I wanted to, so I've seen the movie a few times, but I really focused on that. I wanted to see if she was correct or if she was wrong. So as we go through this, we will learn from my idea if she was correct or not. What I saw, what I figured out. So.
All right, so we're back to the mainland. Indy's with us. Somehow Indy oh yes, because there was a gorgeous python in that. Probably a boa constrictor, actually. I didn't get a good look at it. Reggie, the boa constrictor. How can you be afraid of snakes?
Not afraid of snakes.
Well, I know, but Indiana Jones is.
He's a wuss. Yeah, he's kind of a wuss that way.
Now, I can understand if they're poisonous, but he had to have some natural history background. He should know. I mean, ophidiophobia, I think it's a V, ophidiophobia, fear of snakes, is a thing. Arachnophobia, fear of spiders, is not. Go figure.
Interesting.
So he gets back there and he's given his lecture, and the chick in the front row is flirting with him.
I love her eyelids. The love you. Oh, but if you look as they scroll through the whole student bodies, all the females are like,
I bet that's frowned upon.
it probably is. Maybe not back then.
Not in 1936, no, it was probably. How many girls would, well, yeah, I guess if you had an archaeology professor looking like that, my mom would have been in the front row.
I wonder if they knew how good he was with a whip.
And again, where did he learn that skill?
Right? I mean,
thank you,
if
Howard.
I become an archaeologist, I mean, I've already got the skill down with a whip. But, maybe an extra credit class that just helps out with.
So, where were we? Oh, yes, the chicks.
Yes, the chicks that were all in love with Dr. Jones. I don't blame him. He was a hot thing back then.
Good looking guy. Yeah, I'll admit. Oh, so we get the G-men that come in. Agents Laurel and Agents Hardy.
Yes.
Are you old enough to know who Laurel and Hardy are?
Yes, I know who they are.
They are a direct homage to those two, and Agent M loves to quote them. Not those two guys, the actual actors, Laurel and Hardy. So.
Right. All right, so they come in. They talk about tennis. Tannis, what is it?
Tannis.
Tannis.
Tannis. I think
Tannis.
it's Tannis. Yes. I did not write that down.
I thought I did.
I believe it's Tannis, and I'm relatively sure that that's was a real place at some point in time in Egypt. Egyptians kept amazing records.
Right, they did. They did.
Amazing records, which contradict a lot of other things that were not so amazingly correct, as you might get into later on.
Noah's Ark.
Well, the
global flood.
Well, the slaves the Hebrew slaves
that too. They wandered in the desert for 40 days when if they just walked, they would have gotten there in like 7.
Should we thank Pelagia right now for that?
Yeah. Thanks, Paul.
Invite us on your show. Shameless plug. Especially if you and Shannon are drinking.
Right. So yes, they start talking about the different religious artifacts. And the first one they talk about is the head of this, what is it?
It's not the orb of Ra, that's what gave me
No,
Metamorpho.
it's the head of the staff of Ra.
Right, the disc.
Which in the Bible, that is not an actual artifact. But the Bible does talk about a staff, but it's Moses' staff in Exodus. Exodus 4:2 to be exact. Exodus chapter 4, verse 2.
You happen to look up who Moses' wife was named? He had 2 wives because he got hosed. At least 2.
I don't remember. But God turned his staff into a snake.
Right.
But the staff of Ra was not an actual thing. That was a fake artifact.
You tell the Egyptians that.
And Ra was who?
Ra was
Ra the sun god?
Yes.
Which is why
his daughter was Sekhmet, who later became kind of morphed into Bastet. Both cat goddesses. Oh, can't see it. Tiny.
So that's why the staff of Ra, later in the movie, it has the sun shining through it because it's the sun god. It all connects. Look at that.
They do a good job with, being almost real. You got to put enough stuff in there that's kind of accepted, like the Ark and Raw, and then you can add a couple of little things, and it works with the movie, that universe. Oh, I almost gave you extreme close-up, didn't I?
You do that a lot. You do more the drunker you get, the closer you get to the camera. And if you remember in episode 1, there's parts of that where you could only see like this part of your face because you were so close and just out of.
I'm a good-looking guy.
I like the new mask.
I do too. Oops. I almost gave my identity away.
You almost did.
Can't see I'm doing the Susanna Hoff size.
No, we saw.
I'm just borrowing it. It's not really mine. I don't have, I'm not America's hindquarters.
All right, so back to the movie. We're getting off topic. As we do.
Drink more. I know you have another beers to drink. Oh, that is right out of
full.
That is such a cool.
I started with a beer this time. I pre-gamed this time. So
you pre-grained? That's not a word, is it?
No.
Okay.
Might be one of our words now, though. Pre-grained.
Drink more. Probably the only time you'll ever listen to me.
Maybe.
Where are we here?
Yes. Where are we? All right, so
we're headed to Tibet.
Yes.
The little animated things right out of the 40s. Casablanca.
Oh,
right?
Great. That's so great.
We may have
when
to.
You know you're watching an old movie.
So we're headed to Nepal, which is at the base of the Himalayas, where the Yeti lives, which is also a really good beer. And Mary, we meet Marion there, who was involved in a drinking contest.
Marion Rosewood.
What do you suppose she's drinking?
I don't know, but she can freaking hold her liquor. I am impressed.
It's not clear, so it's not vodka, which I was thinking it might have been. And
whiskey.
Well, probably, but holy crap.
That makes you wonder how she got to that point.
Well, there's a lot of interesting subtext going on there that apparently Indy's a little older than she is. And
Yes.
all right.
Whoopah!
That was very impressive in a way probably did not actually to be.
Whoopah!
What was that?
When you came into frame there and you're
Whoopah!
you're very bodacious. It was
I am.
It was very impressive.
Whoopah!
I'm gonna need a minute.
Did I lean over a little bit?
You didn't even do that. It's just that they filled the screen. If it was 3D, it would have been like hit me in the eye. I'd have been blinded.
Whoopah!
Just well done.
Whoopah!
Why, thank you. I grew them myself. They're real.
Super impressed with what were we talking about? I'm sure it wasn't those boulders.
Nope, it was other boulders. We were talking about Marion. We were at Marion. We just met Marion in the movie.
Marion does not have boulders. So you can edit all that out, I'm sure.
I'm going to edit a little bit of it out, but not all of it.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Well, I do appreciate it. Build the screen. My notes were. Stop it.
Whoopah.
They don't need to know that right away. The viewers.
Oh, they know it already. The people know it already.
Oh, I did write what. I did write what the heck happened. I didn't write heck. I wrote fudge. Happened between Indy and a much younger. Apparently, she was a child. She said that must have been frowned upon by Dabner. What was his name?
I mean, she did. Abner?
Abner.
You were close, Seven. You were so close. Dabner? No, I mean, she looks young, but I think when she said that, I don't think she actually meant she was a child. I think she was just young, like 18, 19. And so when you're older and you look back and you're like, oh, they're children. I don't think she meant it literally.
I hope not, because that's problematic in and of itself. I mean,
well, yes, it is.
Back then, child brides, 16, 17 brides like that was not uncommon. She's probably still in Virginia. So, it's the whole culture was different 100 years ago.
Very, very different.
Years ago, 85 years ago, we'll say. Even in
the 80s when it was filmed and put out, it was a little bit different culture.
Definitely. But so that was my question. I mean, it's just implied that she either made a pass at him or my guess is he probably turned her down because of that and she got butthurt. But I don't know. They leave it blank. And was she in that fourth movie? Because she wasn't in the next two, right?
She was in the fourth movie. She does make an appearance.
That's just all right. Okay, so he comes in, talks to her. She's like, "Come back tomorrow." After she punches him square in the face.
Right. I think we all applauded at that. I mean,
I have said, and I have taken a slap, several, because I deserved him. If I say something smart-assy enough that I deserve it, I'm going to sit there and take it. And I think he knew it was coming. He didn't duck. He didn't try to move out of the way. He might have been a little surprised how fast it showed up. But I think we all knew. Yeah, we didn't exactly know, but nobody cried for him.
He deserved it. We all know he deserved it.
well, we don't know the whole story. There's 3 sides to every story, yours and
Right.
mine and the truth.
It is true. It is
Thank
true.
you, Don Henley. And
Right,
then
so they discuss where is the medallion? Where's the medallion? She says, I have it. I don't know if I want to give it to you. Flirty, flirty.
Flirty. She wanted money. It's all about the Benjamins, baby.
It usually
Look at-
is.
Look at me being 20 years hip. So right after that, the Nazis show up.
Yes.
Well, the gentleman there, and I remembered looking at his name in the credits and forgot, is an homage to the actor Peter Lorre, who was also in Casablanca. He was in The Raven, the second version of The Raven, which is excellent, where Doctor Strange got his slight origins from Vincent Price. Agent M loves Vincent Price, incidentally.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that is, I mean, he plays him as Peter Lorre because of the look, the balding head, and so that's what he is really good in the role as the sadistic whatever his name is. And then there's the fun fight in burns down, of course, everything. And
Oh, right.
because he asked for whiskey.
That's why I think they were drinking whiskey in the shot competition.
That color, it's the right color.
Yeah.
So yes, that's a really good, well, again, another well shot out, good scene. I believe Harrison did a lot of his own fight scenes back then because he was a young man, and
Right.
know that yeah, I believe he did. It's hard to tell. It's just shot so well. It's just an edited.
Right.
All right, so and then she tells him, once they chase all the Nazis out, and he grabs it with his hand.
So with his hand, which burns the one side in it.
Wrong way to get a tattoo. We all laughed at him though when he ran out and stuck it in. Because it's fun to see Nazis get them.
Right. Well, he held on to it for quite a while too. Usually you're like, you don't hold on to it screaming and then just slowly let it fall away. But it had to burn into his hand.
Nazis are not very bright.
No.
Because they're not. I really don't like Nazis.
I don't either.
Oh no, I didn't. I think you did.
So then they run out of the bar because it's burning down, and that's when she's like, hey, I've got the medallion.
And I'm your goddamn partner.
Right. Do you think she knew what it was?
Oh, hell yeah. She's a smart woman. I mean, she's obviously educated because of her father. I mean, there's just no doubt that. She's smart. I mean, she's had to be tough. She ended up in Nepal thriving. She had her own bar, drinking her ass off and surviving.
Drinking whiskey like a champ.
Yeah, in 1981, when that movie was released, she was highly unusual. There were not a lot of women shown to, throw a punch like that. She somehow, she had to learn to take care of herself. We don't know when Abner died. Dabney.
Right.
Dabner. That's what his name is.
Dabner.
We don't know how long she'd been on her own. I mean, what she'd been doing.
Right.
Don't know exactly when all that went down because it happened probably at least 10 years maybe.
Right.
But she was, looked at in the reviews, talking about her that character she's a strong woman, powerful because she put up with crap, but she was still very feminine.
Right.
So I think, yeah. And that ends that second chunk, where they, the partner shows up and they're trying to figure out what their relationship is somehow.
Right.
Some people take a long time to do that.
Right.
You're like a dog with a bone, aren't you? So then they're on the plane. You see the little dots again.
Right over to Cairo.
You don't know, but that is that's a cliche now. in the 40s, they did that all the time in movies. It just was something just to show, I mean, they didn't think that they were doing anything. Film was still, film was like 20 years old then, maybe, and major movies. Digression.
All right, so they get to Cairo. They meet up with, what's his name?
I didn't write his name down.
I didn't either, but he's in all the other movies.
Oh yeah, he is. He's like the constant there, isn't he?
Yeah, he's one of the constants.
He also played Professor Challenger later on, which is from the Lost World, where they went to found dinosaurs. Arthur Conan Doyle, who created that other guy that Bernard. Well, he created Sherlock Holmes.
Okay.
Well.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
That guy, Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. Yeah, so they're in the town. People start chasing after them. I hate that they gave her a frying pan to fight with.
But
Marion.
Jackie Chan has fought with a frying pan. It's a good weapon because it's broad and you can really wallop someone with it.
Yes, now, but it's very stereotypical for women to fight with a freaking frying pan.
It is. You are correct. But you also, as anyone who has trained with martial arts knows you fight with any weapon at whatever's around you is a weapon.
Okay. But they could have given her something else.
They could have. But again, it was the 80s, especially early 80s. Right. The fact that she was walloping people with a frying pan, we loved it. I got to tell you, the audience was roaring with, hit him again, kill him, crack him between the legs with your frying, boom, golf with that frying pan. I don't know what else. Yeah, but it just
still, for me, goes back to the idea that was thought of back then that women are in the kitchen. That's what they do. They cook for their men. Well, it's that kind of a thing. And so when she comes running out with a frying pan, that's just kind of where my mind went is, did she really have to run out with a frying pan? She couldn't have ran out with something else?
If she came out of a kitchen, you could have, should have been plenty of knives. PG rating, so she wasn't going to slice a guy from
no
asshole to Adam's apple. Wow, I just said asshole. You weren't going to see that. You got to see it later on in the movie, not the slicing, but
blood splatter
and melting, and so. Oh,
that was so super fake, but so awesome. The guy's head exploding at the end, that one was my favorite. But we'll get there, I know.
Maybe you should use that clip too. I see where you're coming from, definitely. As someone who was trained in martial arts, you do look for anything as a weapon.
Right.
The frying pan also has a shieldy aspect because it's round. I mean, you can't throw it and have it come back to you. But I've seen so many martial arts movies that use frying pans as a weapon. It didn't even register as feminine because I've seen guys use it. I've seen women. I can see where that comes from. I'm not going to deny it. I mean, in 1981, yeah, of course. I don't know what else she'd have used. A ladle would have been kind of fun because she could have scooped certain things and then hit them on the head with it. Would have worked. But still, because of that, I mean, I get it. Yeah, I mean, but the audience, from what I remember, we just loved her wailing on Nazis.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that was boiled down to, we didn't think, oh, she's got a frying pan because she's a woman. It was, she's got a frying pan and she's laying these bozos out.
Right. So then she chases him off with the frying pan. She's trying to run away and disappear, so she gets in that big giant basket. And then the stupid Nazi monkey gives her away.
Well, he pays the price. So he has a bad date.
Yeah, he does. He has a bad date. I've had plenty bad dates. Luckily, they haven't turned out like that for me at the end.
Well, yeah. Oh my gosh, you and your bad dates.
That should be a segment. It's talking about my bad dates. Oh my gosh.
You could write a book.
I could. I could.
Yet again.
Anyway, so they find her, pick up the basket. Indy runs after her.
And kaboom!
Yes.
But no piece. If you don't see a body, like in
Right.
soap operas and comic books, if you don't see a body,
You don't see the body. But even in soap operas, even if you see the body in a soap opera, that still means nothing because they always find a way to come back. They all come back from the dead, even after you see a body.
I don't remember seeing Hope's body.
Well,
Not that I watched that show or anything.
right. We've already talked about that in episode 1.
Did?
Maybe it was episode 2. But yes, we talked about Days of Our Lives.
I don't know any Days of Our Lives. Not Sands Through the Hourglass or anything. Not at all. Not Steve and Kayla or anybody.
Hope and Ho. We've talked about it.
Damn it, Agent T. I remember getting that one from you, but you just lost it.
Yep,
Oh.
I did. All right, so
Let's see. Okay, so he thinks she's dead,
yes,
and he's sitting there drinking his whiskey.
cry,
Direct
cry.
Direct homage from Rick in Casablanca. Of all the gin joints and all the towns in all the world, she has to walk into mine. Okay, yeah, we can't watch that. Never mind. I don't know
No,
anything
we
about. Oh, all right. So what happens after that? All I have here is 10 Commandments. I don't know why I wrote that, except for the
Commandments are supposed to be in the Ark of the Covenant, which is the end goal of what they're trying to find is the Ark of the Covenant.
Because there was that shot in the sky in the background of all the boom, 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 and lightning, and that was, I mean, again, homage to 10 Commandments, Cecil B. DeMille, 1954. Not just a superhero nerd, am I?
So the constant guy who's in all the movies, can't remember his name, with all the kids, the one that can't keep it in his pants.
Tala, right? Tala?
Yes, Tala? Something like that. Anyway, he says he has a friend that can translate what is on the
Medallion.
head of the staff of Ra, the medallion on the top. And so they go to that guy, and that guy tells them what's on there, and that's how they figure out how tall the staff should be.
Right. And that they're digging in the wrong place. Oh, we love
And
that.
they're digging in the wrong place because if Indy wasn't there, the Nazis back at the bar would have gotten the medallion from Marion, and they would have then had the inscription translated, and then they would have known how tall the staff was going to be, so then they would have been digging in the correct place.
That's like pissing in my Cheerios, don't you?
It's what it is. He just prolonged it.
Well, prolonged
It
it.
made it a better movie, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's no movie without Indiana Jones. It would have been like 5 minutes. But the point still stands that Indiana Jones has no real part in the main storyline other than, action and handsomeness and making the Nazis take longer to get what they were after.
That's true. And then they get it from him.
Yeah, they do. Because of Bullock. Damn, Renee.
Who's still freaking charming. I'd forgotten that. He really is charming.
He is a charming guy.
Damn French.
All right.
Dog.
So they get it. So then they go out to the digging site to figure out where the what's it called? The map room. They find the map room, sneak down into the map room, and that's where Indy, with his handy little notebook, because we see that little notebook in other movies, compares to the little symbol, which looks like an Aquarius symbol, the little water.
Aquarius should be an Aries symbol.
No, because the Aquarius is water, and it's got the.
I got it.
Uh-huh. And so he finds the correct hole, which then brings us, because they had to do it at 9 in the morning, because that was the perfect sunlight to shine through the staff of Ra onto the spot.
Very important to find the correct hole.
It is very important to find the correct hole.
If you don't, you could, well, be that as it may. Because these are not really pointers, they're just jazz hands. Do, 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 do. Anything goes. Oh, wait, that's the next movie. Do, 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 do. We didn't even talk about the music.
Huh?
You know what, where John Williams got his start?
No.
It wasn't Jaws, it wasn't Star Wars, it was Lost in Space, the TV show. He was credited as Johnny Williams back then. Because he was probably about 12.
Right.
He's
very talented.
He's amazing. Although at some point you don't always need it. You need different people who don't. Because after he got big and everyone tried to make their soundtrack sound like, no, there's just one. Do your own thing. Damn it.
Right.
Says the musician here.
Okay, so then he figures out where the Ark is buried, which, if you look at the miniature town, it's in the center, in the biggest building, right in the center. I mean, obvious. Like, that's, if you look at a little miniature town, you'd be like, let's start there first.
That was 3,000 years ago when they buried it. You know, the Earth had only been around for 6,000 years by then, or 3,000 years more. I got that completely wrong. The dinosaurs buried it when they walked through. That's my.
They had baby dinosaurs on Noah's Ark. That's how they got, you know.
You're gonna do it, aren't you?
With space. The space inside the Ark, they use baby dinosaurs.
Baby dinosaur.
Baby dinosaur.
I want a Triceratops horridus. I really want Indiana Jones to be on the dinosaur.
I want a Pachycephalosaurus.
Probably not a bad bet, because they were not huge. I mean, you wouldn't have to feed them that much. They could crop the grass. Right. You wouldn't have to move on.
They'd break out. They'd find a way.
Well, Pachycephalosaurus will find a way. Boy, there better be one in the next movie.
Know it. Okay, let's bring it back. So they start digging up on the hill for everyone to see. They're one group that's away from everyone else. And they're up there. And of course, you know the scene with the sunset in the back and Indiana Jones standing there with his hat and
what a great
looking
scene.
All glorious.
So well shot.
But they found the top. They found the stone top. And of course, that's when the lightning started happening, because God was pissed.
Are we sure it wasn't a Norse god?
What would Thor be doing? Why would he care? That's not his thing.
His mother was Gaia. Well, comic books. Never mind.
It was God. He was getting pissed that they were getting close to his Ark of the Covenant. So the lightning started happening.
This is a very Jewish movie. Very Jewish.
Yeah.
Because those two guys that made it were very Jewish.
Right. So they removed the top. And of course, what's on the floor inside.
Why is the floor moving? And then he
And
says,
how did the snakes get in there? If it was sealed by that top.
What do they eat? That's the
Right.
question.
And that many.
It would reek of snake poop. But they probably could just go in and out. They're just snake. I mean, but that's a lot of snakes. Yeah, that does not bear it. If you examine that closely, it will not end well for anybody.
No.
Why is the floor moving? Snakes are easier than bugs.
They get down. Yeah, Tala, him and Tala. Was it Tala? Is that his name?
I keep thinking Sala. I turned my computer off. I could have looked it up.
Tala.
John Rhys Davis. That's who it is. That's the actor. Guess who's done? Guess who's done?
All right. Hold on.
I still, when I used to empty my shot glass, I would do it like Marion did.
I know, right?
I'm pretty sure I did that in front of you. Somebody I've done it in front of.
Sala. Sallah. Sala.
Sala Telgar from,
Sala.
well, never mind.
They go down.
Get
They
down
with
here.
the snakes.
In the olden days, you could see actually they CGI'd it out, but there's that cobra, the cobra that rears up, the king cobra, which is a deadly animal. You could see the glass that was separating them. You can't see it now because George Lucas can't stop monkeying with his movies. Not a terrible thing that you miss the glass, but I never saw it the first time. Again, some sweet summer child pointed it out to me.
Yeah.
Several years later, he's like, "Oh, of course you can see it." Like he saw it the first time.
Gosh, we love him.
I like him in a way off.
Right. So they
Yeah.
find the Ark of the Covenant. Ah, magical moment. Gold in all its glory.
It's beautiful, that's for sure. Where did those poor Hebrews find all that gold to make that? Well, I guess after they melted the golden calf, right?
Right.
You can ask
Don't worship a golden calf, but kind of a worship of the Ark of the Covenant, because that's God's.
Well,
That's God's special box.
yeah, that whole thing about them using it, I don't know that's not in the Old Testament. I don't believe. I could ask Agent M, she's the biblical scholar in the family, if it ever showed up again after that. I know in the Bible, I'm just saying, I don't, obviously.
Right.
It's somewhere in Washington right now, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Spoilers. So, yeah, they pull it, they get it out, and then of course they raise it up there, and who's right there? Because he's probably the smartest man in the movie, even though he's aligned himself with Nazis.
Right.
Why did it have to be Nazis?
Always.
Makes you wonder what went on, why he did that, why he went down that. Renee went down that path, because I mean,
I bet it was money.
But
money talks. He wasn't a Nazi himself.
No.
He just helped the Nazis.
I don't think he liked them.
I think it also is, I think they were going to give him a lot of money, and it's the notoriety of being the one that discovered the Ark of the Covenant.
Yes, that could very well be, but boy, yeah.
So
I'm probably thinking about this way too much, but
that's what you do here.
Overthinking
things. Overthinking and not knowing when to shut up.
Dr. Jones, in 1,000 years, you will become a archaeological relic. Son of a bitch. We laughed at that a lot.
Yeah, that was funny. So they pull it out, they close up the lid, or they throw Marion in there, which, by the way, that dress is hideous.
Oh, yeah.
The one that she's wearing, the white one. It
It's
is
right
hideous. Oh, gosh.
Time period, so
I know, but
Not a
it
fan.
is just ugly.
fan of 30s fashion much for the women anyway. The guys look pretty cool.
Right.
Dora's, it looks good in 1944, which of course was not when that movie was shot. But men's fashion stayed kind of cool, but women went through a really like
That
the
was not a pretty dress.
70s when women had their hair parted right down the middle and nothing else. Thank you, Janis Joplin.
They threw Marion down. She caught onto the big statue. The tooth broke, which made her fall, and she hit her ass on her way down into Indy's arms.
Was
She
that a
bounced. It was funny.
Anubis that she was grabbing onto? I don't
I
remember.
think
It could have
so,
been
something
set.
like that.
Crocodile, it was set. If it was a jackal, it was Anubis.
Well, something similar.
Well, she's lucky he caught her because
He
she
was
was
right there to catch her. Just
on a cobra, which would not have been as much fun.
no.
I mean, that was the only poisonous snake in the whole pit. None of the other ones. They were just pythons and garter snakes. It wasn't. You'd think an archaeologist would know a little bit about snakes. Herpetology.
Right. So they're closed in. They have to find a way out. Indy, in all of his strength and glory, jumped up on one of the statues, made it tip over, broke through the wall, and then Marion was stupid.
Of archaeological find while he's doing it.
Right. She runs into a whole bunch of dead bodies. Where the hell did they come from?
Well, they're mummies-ish. They look like
And all of a
Mexican.
sudden they were like, they're surrounding her, like, really? Really?
Well, what I
But
wrote.
then they found the stream of light. They found the stream of light, and Indy just kind of gently pushed the rock out of the wall, and oh my gosh, that's where the planes were. Okay, if that's where your planes are and you see a structure right there, why aren't you going to go look in that structure first? It's right there.
They had to travel a little bit, didn't they?
No, because he pushed it out and you could see the Nazi planes. They were right there.
I did have a note, when earlier when Bullock brought her that hideous dress
Yes.
and his family label of booze. I'm trying to think of what booze came from France. Champagne.
Right.
Thank you, Benjamin. I couldn't think of anything else that came from France. Like, really? You getting drunk off champagne? I mean, she's faking it, obviously, because.
Oh, she is faking it. I wish they showed that a little more, that she was faking how drunk she was getting. But
well,
they did a little bit, but not as much as they could have or should have.
So I just wondered what his family beers or booze was.
Right. So, in continuing with the way I approached watching Raiders this time, like I said, if they actually got the medallion, they would have found the correct hole, they would have found the correct place, they still would have had the Ark, and here we are. Still, Amy Farrah Fowler is still correct at this point. At this point, we'll see what happens as we discuss the rest of the movie.
She's a very smart woman. I mean, in real life, she's a freaking neuroscientist. In real life, not just on TV. Okay, where did we go? Snakes. Okay, so
they got out, and the planes were right there.
And they blew up the plane and had that We all knew what was going to happen to that big old Nazi.
We
With that
did,
plate.
and I wish we saw a little more of it. Not just the blood. Like, I want to see more of that stuff. I like that stuff.
Almost
I
drilled.
liked I like all the mummies in the cave where they found the, you know.
Yeah, but he got hacked into pieces. Oh, Jeebus. We knew it was coming. Ugh.
It would have been fun.
If he wasn't a Nazi, you'd almost feel sorry for him.
Yeah. And so they ran away. It exploded because the gasoline got everywhere.
And they put it on the truck.
Great.
Okay, so the truck
Let's
is
talk about the truck fighting scene, shall we?
well, we have to because I got lots to say. What with being someone who knows about this sort of thing. When you saw it the first time, you did not see the track where they dug for the poor stuntman who's being dragged along underneath it. That stunt was an homage to Zorro's Fighting Legion, where it happened to Zorro, except that he had 8 hooves, horses that he had to avoid, as opposed to 4 wheels. So keep that in mind. But he did the exact same thing, exact same stunt, except that it was. So it's a great serial. You'll never watch it, but I love me some Zorro.
Right.
So, but
So first of all, if that was actually happening, that would hurt like a bitch. Next,
even through that leather jacket.
Those gravel being pulled that fast on that gravel would have torn through his clothes within seconds and then started ripping away his flesh.
Yeah, he'd look like that mummy.
Yes.
For the incredible
yes, he would have. So the other point I have to make about the fighting scene, while it's fun to watch and keeps you on your toes, the side door in the truck is open. Why are they throwing him out push him out the side door?
Because
they won't have anything to grab. Like, come on. I mean, I get it but seriously.
Dramatic. You're gonna go.
I mean, the door had to be open so he could, go under and get back up and through and come right through. But
if
then
you want to
got
go
in the driver's seat and then still push the guy out front. Push him out the side door. Less.
It happened to him. The same thing. It's the way it goes. If you want realism, it's boring. You want dramatic.
No.
Make you. You got to go with the throw him out the window, the front window.
If you threw him out the side, you could still, get thrown out and grab the door and swing around and fiddle that way. It just makes more sense as the one driving to push them out the side than to grab them, hit their head on the, dashboard a few times, and then out the freaking window.
Well, I see your point, but it ain't gonna happen.
I know. It's still fun. It's still a great scene.
It's fun. It's like watching wrestling. Do you want to see a real fight that ends in 30 seconds? Do you want to see something that makes you go, I want to see that guy's ass get kicked for 10 minutes, 15 minutes? You want to believe. Willing suspension of disbelief. You got to have it. Otherwise, movies would be 15 minutes long and be like watching the news. Who needs that? It's like trying to make Batman realistic. Doesn't work. Oops, another superhero.
So we're fighting in the truck. Anything more about that?
Nope.
By the way, it's great for the people to see you pull up your book right in front of the camera. Yeah.
Like, they may not want to see my face. They don't like me like you do.
Well, do I even like you like I do?
Do we really want to go there? Do we really want to start telling secrets?
Do we really want to go there?
Well, there went that one.
Folks, that was a joke from a scene in Friends.
Right there where it says carrot cake.
You know the words. Sing along. Friends and Phoebe and Ross.
You could edit this out, but when Agent M goes, she wants a piper to play Amazing Grace.
She will get one.
You and I are going to have to really hold it together then, because we might have a piper down.
You're showing your A.
Wait, did you say age or A?
A. You're
Oh.
showing your A on your mask,
Oh, that's
Marty.
pretty cool.
Marty.
Is that better? Can't see shit now. Can we swear on YouTube?
You don't mark these for children.
Children. I don't know any children
We
except
don't
for.
cater to children.
Well, no.
We drink on stream. and cuss. Okay, back to the movie. We're getting off the.
Only we didn't say fudge. All right.
Fudge.
So in the Jeep scene where they chase it, where they go off the cliff, that's the stop motion bit. You know
Okay.
who told me? A little
Sweet
bitty
summer
mouth.
child.
But it's a
He's
nice,
sweet as custard and just as smart.
it's just nice to not see everything CG. Those are all handmade effects.
Right.
You've got matte paintings, you've got miniatures that are built by hand. They're not all green screen. I miss that because I'm old. My day, we didn't have computers and we loved it.
You're starting to sound like the sweet summer child. He's gotten through to you a little bit inside your brain.
Same vintage. I was there. I just, not that he got to me. It's just something that happened. I mean,
Right. So back in the truck.
What if they CG'd the car flying away in at the end of Grease? That'd be awful.
Well,
Or
yeah.
car flying away at the end of the video.
Our video. The people need to learn about our video at some point.
We may have to dissect that at some point.
The video that truly brought us together. It really connected us.
Oh gosh.
I'll learn. We'll have to make a whole episode about.
I think
that
we
video.
could. For a 3-minute video, we could talk for 2 hours.
We could, and we will.
All right. So, let's see. They get it. They actually get the arc, and we think, oh, is this the end of the movie? Indy's going to take the arc back, and everything's over. Captain Topanga? No, wait, that's from something else. The only black guy in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Topanga. That's the girl from Boy Meets World. Not that I
Yes.
watched.
Of course, you didn't watch it.
I might have identified with Corey a little bit, except for the hair.
I believe it.
I don't remember what his name was now, but yeah, they get on the freighter and you think, oh,
Yep.
Everything's good. And then there's Marion who's trying to because Indy's got the crap beat up, literal
He did,
crap.
and she's trying to get some, and he just passes right the fuck out.
She just can't catch a
Talk about
break.
blue balls.
Where does it hurt? It's a good scene. It's a very nice. It's the slow. You'll give the audience a break here because right after this, it's a high speed till the end, and it's just a good filmmaker knows when to give the audience a break instead of hitting him in the face with everything for 30 minutes or 40 minutes or 100 minutes.
Right.
You Endgame, but not that I mind because I love it.
It was a great one.
But yeah, it's just this nice little moment where they're starting to, and well,
He falls asleep.
well, he needs to rest because
He
really,
does. He just went through.
how good was he gonna be if they'd have tried?
Not good. No, it would have, yes, it would have been
What? She'd been waiting.
upsetting. She
Yeah.
would have had to think twice about ever wanting to be with him again if that's,
Might have given him a second chance.
uh,
Did kind of like him.
yeah,
And
but
it does happen to every guy.
yeah, but if it's bad, after that much buildup,
Yeah.
it's hard to go back for another opportunity, another chance. It's hard because
Pressure at all now.
no pressure at all. After that kind of buildup. Now, if it's like a one night, we meet and a couple dates later, you don't have that grand build. There's a little build, but you know what I mean? It's after
Right.
years and years and
So fortunately, she was sort of disappointed, but then she wasn't because because I'm sure he was exhausted. He'd been beat up by a enormous Nazi and had snakes all over. Just as well, he fell asleep. Anyway, but we digress.
so we get to the island, the rock island.
Did it say
Or
what
is there
that
something we need to talk about before?
did they say where that island was? I don't even remember now.
I don't either.
Where does it hurt? Neither of them can catch a break. Indy recovers very quickly. A good night's sleep and nothing hurts again.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Already, you see, she could have waited, but the damn Nazis ruined that.
Yeah.
So he gets on the sub, he's headed there, they get to the island, he beats up a couple Nazis, and first he takes the little guy's clothes that don't fit. Nice touch there. Always good, a good director, a good writer always knows when to add a little humor in because get the audience to laugh a little bit and then you can scare them the rest of the movie.
He threatens to blow up the Ark, but
God.
he's an archaeologist, so he just can't do it.
I thought, what if those were dinosaur bones? I wouldn't have been up either. Go ahead. Good call, Renee.
Yeah.
He's a jerk, but he knew what to say. Of course,
he sure did.
I'd have regretted that later on.
Yeah. Well.
Oh. So while they're in the submarine or somewhere, when the Nazis have the box that the Ark is in, you see it burns the Nazi symbol off that eagle and
right.
How did he not notice that? I think that there's
know.
Where Balok actually looks at it and is like, gives it a little second look, but then doesn't think any more of it. But come on, don't you think that's a little
it's
black? Something's annoyed about being with Nazis. Everything should be annoyed about being with Nazis.
Right. I did notice that.
The title of this episode is going to be X7 Hates Nazis. Okay, burned box.
Nazis.
Can't blow
That's
it.
not going to let people know what we're reviewing.
Okay. This is history. That was a great line. Great line from Balok. He knew what to say.
Right, he did.
Archaeological.
Say it again.
I don't think I can say that word again because it wasn't a real word. Nope.
Archaeological?
Appealed to Indy's inner archaeologist. I'm just going to go. That's all I can say.
Good job.
Cool special effects, lots of milk explosions. Just love them. Sorry, not sorry. I love my old school effects, real effects, not just people.
Right.
Boop, 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 boop.
So then we get to where it's got, the little steps up to the stage platform for all the people to watch as they open up the lid of the Ark of the Covenant. And
Yeah.
at first it was just sand. It was just sand in there.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
where is it everything? Where's the 10 Commandments? Where's whatever else is supposed to be stored in there? But all these spirits came out, start flying around.
That's the angel of death. I mean,
Right.
right from the 10 Commandments. It's just like asking for trouble. I mean, why go begging trouble? Why? Nazis are stupid. And may all their faces melt just like that.
One guy's head exploded. That was the best one.
Which one was it? Oh, was it?
I don't know. One of
One
them
of them, yeah.
exploded and I started clapping.
Well, of course he did. You know what? That scene right there with its melted, wax faces and explosions and scanners. I'm going to make your brain explode. That got the industry. Mom loves that scene, or Agent M loves that scene. That got the industry because parents dropped all their kids off because it was a PG movie. That's what got the PG-13 rating put in place.
Oh, interesting.
Instead of looking at it and saying parental guidance is suggested, they just were like, "Oh, it's PG." I was like, you bunch of fucking morons. Do your job. Ugh.
It's not quite as good as the face melting in Last Crusade. Oh, have you seen that one?
I have seen that movie once.
It's not so much of a face melting, but it's like it's almost like a quick aging and then the skin just kind of deteriorates and
that's like when you steak Dracula.
Yeah, kind of. But you see the different stages in there, so it's done a little bit better than the face meltings in this first one.
It's been probably 30 years since I've seen that movie. Because I've only seen
the second best one.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah.
You're gonna blow. If you shoot a laser at the moon, you're gonna blow it up. Agree to disagree.
So they kept their eyes closed because Indy knew, because Indy just is all knowing.
Well, again, he's an archaeologist. He would have known what.
He's a what?
He's an archaeologist. Don't look at the Gorgon's head. He would have known that too. Don't look at Medusa. Don't look at the Angel of Death. It's not good. It's bad. It's bad.
Anyway, so it all takes them up and then right back in to the Ark of the Covenant, and it closes.
All those Nazis never reported back.
No.
You wonder what Herr Schnickelgruber, which is what us old people call Hitler. What he's like? What the heck? What happened? I never heard back from him.
Yep.
He had some other problems of his own. Well, not
Well,
my
right.
people. Jerk. I wish somebody would have told me, hey, Adolf, that painting's pretty good. Why don't you do that some more? Solve the whole thing right there.
Right?
But no.
No. All right, so then they get rescued somehow. Did we see how they get rescued?
I guess as they went up, the ropes were broke because they were burned. They just got down. When they went to the Nazi U-boat and said, radioed somebody and said, come get us. We have this thing and I need my money, because they paid him.
Right.
Apparently a lot. But that would be what my guess was, because the two people really couldn't drive a U-boat by themselves. It's just not possible.
No.
100 Nazis go down, 50 Nazi couples come up.
Right.
But because they killed all the Nazis, they just disintegrated or died or something. I don't know. But there was a big old Nazi base in whatever that island was, so it must have been close enough, somewhere in the Atlantic, I would guess.
Yeah.
So they could have gotten some hold of some U.S. crew. Come get them. I'm sure they took the boat with them, because the U-boat.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because that's, you can use that to study and find out what the hell they're doing.
Right. Then they got back. They put the Ark in the box. Well, they talked to dude for a minute or a couple dudes.
They're
They're like,
top men.
right.
After it. Top men.
It's being studied. It's let it go. You don't need to know. We're not going to tell you.
Makes you wonder what else was in there. I bet Howard Stark was looking at that stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. But they wheeled it off into that big warehouse with all the other stuff that we'll never see.
Never. I mean, and nowadays that would have been the post-credit scene. They would have had Indy come out and walk off with Marion, who offered to buy him a drink, or was going to get him a drink, Sailor, and then that would have been the first scene, the end, and then you'd have had the credits, and then the last bit would have been, which would have been fine. I mean, that works. But post-credit scenes were, well, first Sailor did it actually. Go home.
So now that we're at the end of the movie,
right?
If Indy wasn't part of the movie, the Ark of the Covenant would still be on that island. So that's the only difference. But they still would have found it. They still would have opened it. They still would have been disintegrated. What was the point of Indiana Jones other than making it difficult for them?
He wouldn't have gotten to see all of that.
So Amy Farrah Fowler
exists
was correct.
For sure.
Was correct.
If she wanted it to be really boring, you notice how Penny, when she watched it, didn't figure that out at all.
She's not as smart as Amy Farrah Fowler.
And
she probably doesn't really care.
She had to like the movie. There's no way she could not have enjoyed that movie. It's an enjoyable movie.
It is. It is.
It made $1 gazillion. Normal people, unlike us, and I said us, went and saw it. More than once, probably. I saw it twice, 3 times, maybe 3 times. I don't know.
Now that we know Amy Farrah Fowler was right with Raiders of the Lost Ark, I'm going to take that into Temple of Doom and see.
Because everything goes.
Right. And see if that works for that movie as well. So we'll see.
I don't remember the last time I saw that movie either. All I remember.
I like that one.
You have betrayed Shiva at the end of the movie. Even though I do greatly enjoy Kali, but that might also come from the Golden Voyage of Sinbad. Dance for me, Kali.
Do we have any last thoughts of Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Apparently half the crew got dysentery while they were there. That was fun. For them, I'm sure not. I believe in the shot where, you remember with the guy with the sword and they're going to have a fight, that was all improv, that he just pulled his gun out and shot him.
That was funny. That was funny.
Harrison was not feeling well. I mean, and a lot of part of the movies he was not, because he did his own stunts and he probably got banged up. Not all of them, because you're not going to slide under a Jeep unless you're getting paid a lot more money. All props to the stuntmen.
Yes. Yes.
It's just such a fun adventure movie. It's well shot. It has good commentary about flipping Nazis. It's just good. It's just a good.
It really is a good movie.
Entertaining, even if you have to accept certain things that when you think about, you don't make as much sense as you like them to, but there are leaps of faith you have to take and willing suspension of disbelief, because it's just a good movie, well deserved of its accolades. I believe it was nominated for an Academy Award for special effects, which annoyed another sweet summer child, because the movie he wanted to have nominated was not. boy, did I have to hear about that for like 4
Yes, you
hours.
did. But yeah, no, it was a good movie. Even, you know, the fight scenes are not like fight scenes now, but they're still enjoyable. Like you can tell that it's totally fake, but it's still just enjoyable. It's still just a good movie that, you know, keeps your attention, and it is entertaining, and you know, it's great.
Get caught up in it. I mean, and once you buy into it, you're good. You don't
Right.
have to worry about, oh, well, that couldn't happen. I mean, you buy in with, if you buy into it, if that first segment hooks you and you're like, well, now I've got to see what happens. And I'm going to,
Right.
even if there are some things that are questionable, I want to know what's going on. I got to see this through. And this movie is well paced. It's well edited. You don't say, oh God, is this going to end at any time?
Right. Right.
That happens a lot with some movies these days where you're just like, wait,
Gosh, we've been in this theater for 3.5 hours. Is it going to be over?
you can tell when a movie's good, you don't think that, no matter how long it is.
Right.
I've watched 80-minute movies and I've thought, holy crap, why is this movie this long? It's not even that long. I watch cartoons that are 20 minutes and thinking, Spider-Woman, do something else. So yes, this is such a good movie. It's just fun and well done, and a delightful homage to those serials that both George Lucas and Steven Spielberg grew up watching. You know, Zorro's Fighting Legion, any of the swashbucklers and the stuff like that. And it's just, you know, when they gave it at that point, it was a modern twist because
Right.
a hero would never have just shot somebody. That was just something right out of the blue, and you're like, oh, well, that makes sense. Yeah, everyone should do that.
Right. It's a good one. It's a good one. I think
Okay.
it's one that even here we are 40 years later.
Well, it was 81, so yes, 41 years later.
It's still an enjoyable movie to go back and watch. And my older sister, she's got her 5 kids, and she's starting to show them some of these older movies, and they went through and they watched all the Indiana Jones, and even them in their teens in the last year, I would say, is when she has shown them, they still enjoyed the movies.
Excellent.
And
That's
so
it.
it has stood the test of time. Like this story and the movie and all, it's still good today to watch for the first time as much as it was back then.
You are correct. That is true. Not all movies, most movies don't. I mean, they appeal to you if you see them at a certain age, you will love a movie. If it appeals. I was watching a certain Japanese show and thinking, why, you know, and I do think, why did this catch my attention?
Right.
But it's just so unusual, and it's whatever was appealed to me at that point. It's like the 66 Batman show. I have known that movie or series as long as I can remember. And it's not everyone's cup of tea for sure.
Right.
Not everyone likes their serving of 100% grade A Adam West.
Right. Who's Adam West?
What do you talk about after coitus? I'm talking about Adam West after coitus. It's to prove a point, but drink more.
All right.
I mean, how much you got left there? Half a bottle.
But there's still more in the bottle because it was a pint and I can't fit a pint in here. This fits a can.
In your Star Trek class.
It's not a Star Trek, it's a diamond. It's a jewel.
Well, it is. It's also right out of Star Trek. That looks like you're drinking Aldebaran brandy.
Screw you.
Well, it can't be Romulan Romulan ale, because that shit's blue.
It's the blue shit that makes it blue.
Oh, one of the great quotes that came out of my mouth after 2 of those. I bet you I'd have barfed blue too if I'd have had to.
Probably.
I would have been annoyed. Freaking drinks are expensive.
All right, so is this a good wrapping up point?
I believe so. I believe so. And I do actually have a wrapping up point. So we really appreciate everyone who's watched. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Really helps us out. Ooh, look at me, sound like a real YouTuber. And remember, agents and believers, followers, whatever you want to call people who rightfully think Lilith Draco is wonderful. Remember, if you don't drink and you don't smoke, what do you do?
Bye. Thanks
Bye.
for watching.
Live long and prosper.
Oh, I love your neighborhood. There's a great gym right around the corner from your building.
That's my gym.
I can tell you work out. Paleontologist who works out. You're like Indiana Jones.
I am like Indiana Jones.
I got beer.
I got bottled breast milk.
Why don't we start with the beer?
Okay.
So you like the beer?
I do. I do. Although it's actually a lager.
Huh. What's the difference between beer and lager?
I don't know. We could look it up.